Ladies and or gentlemen, welcome back or welcome to the channel. My name is Zeno and let's talk about Sword Art Online Fractured Daydream. This is the next Sword Art Online game releasing October 4th for all platforms, and it just ran a public beta over the weekend. I played for about 3 hours worth on my PS5. I would have actually played more, but sadly I am currently really sick, which you can probably tell in my voice, so I am sorry about that. We'll be back to full fighting force soon. The beta was divided into two different parts. Tried out co-op with multiple characters and a few of the raids as well, and I want to give some impressions I have about my time spent. I have quite a few concerns actually, and I'd love to hear more from people who played it as well, what they're feeling about the game at the moment in that comment section down below. TLDR, to let people know where I stand as a Sword Art Online fan overall, just so you know where I'm coming from. I've always had a soft spot for this series despite all of its issues. I've always just really loved Kirito and Azuna's story and romance since I was young. I've just started collecting the light novels. I have about 5 at the moment. I just buy them when they're currently on sale, and I even have a pop figure of both Kirito and Azuna, and I have all the anime on Blu-ray. But I've actually only played really in depth one other SOA game, which is Hollow Realization, about 4.5 years ago now, and I put about 60 hours into that game. Hadn't finished it, I got distracted like I always do, but I loved every minute of it despite all the janken issues. So I have not played Fatal Bullet, which I see a lot of people comparing FD to, nor any of the other modern ones, though I would absolutely love to one day. So with that out of the way, how am I feeling about a new Sword Art Online game that is very focused on multiplayer and co-op? Not 100% sure that this game is for me, because I don't really like multiplayer much anymore. But even putting that aside, this game just seems like it has some issues, or it just doesn't seem 100% finished yet, and I've got some worries. So 3 hours played, what did I do? I played as multiple characters in both the co-op mode and the raid mode. I played as Kirito, Azuna, Leafa, Angel, and Sinon. I would have played more, but alas, I've been sick, so unfortunately I couldn't play the final day of the beta. The beta was very simple, and overall the gameplay loop is pretty easy to understand. You can customize your favorite characters quite extensively, down from the tons of cosmetics, weapon, armor, and accessories for stats and buffs, and as you complete online matches for any of the modes, you can level up your character that you're playing as, which unlocks permanent stat buffs like more health or more cosmetics like weapon glosses. I will say, I know it's a beta, but there was just a really small selection of playable characters and roles. I'm really unsure why some of the more popular people like Alice and Yu-Gi-Oh were not there, or even Yuki. There was only one tank and one magic user, so it was very hard to get a grasp on the different play styles if you don't like the character that was available. Also, there was only one map for co-op, which is like a grassy plains kind of thing. It has got trees, bridges, and some underground caverns, with only one boss to face. The raid wasn't that much better. There was 2 raid bosses, but they were kind of fairly similar in style, and they had not the greatest hitboxes, which I struggled with for sure. Okay, you pick a character. Let's just take Kirito. Hop into online co-op or raid. Let's start with the co-op, and you fight your way through some very simple co-op objectives, and eventually you reach the boss where you and all the other squads, totaling up to 20 different players, you come together and you take the boss down. Leveling is actually done semi-interestingly. It's almost like a roguelike mode in a way. You start at level 1 each time, and the more enemies that you kill across the map, the more experience that you get, and you can also find different passive skills in chests or from enemy drops, but you can only hold one at a time, and you can also increase your stats like HP and attack, etc. You also don't start the match with all of your skills unlocked, which I found kind of weird and pointless by the end, because it only takes like 5 minutes per match at most to get all of your skills and your ultimate move unlocked each time. So I found that this made the early game kind of repetitive very quickly, because you can only have access to 1 skill and then 2 skills and then 3 skills. So I kind of hope that's changed in the final product, just because I can see people getting very bored doing the exact same thing every single time. Speaking of time, I should also mention how long it actually takes to play the game and how every match that you do online. My average clear time in co-op and raids are about 10 to 15 minutes. It's quite fast, to be honest, in my opinion, so that's a plus, because if you don't have much time on your hands, you can hop into a quick match or 2 every now and then. The game itself, combat-wise, it's a fairly standard third-person action combat game. You jump, you dodge, you block, you attack. Some characters, like Leafa, could actually fly. She was probably my most favorite character to use. That was really cool. Although, again, another caveat, flying seems to need some work as well. I was getting caught on rocks and trees, and the flight controls just aren't as intuitive as I would have liked. I actually had to go into the settings and change the POV to max, because I was finding myself getting way too caught up with all the flashy effects on screen, and it was becoming very cluttered, especially when you get to the point where you have 20 players next to you. I just couldn't see my characters properly or react in time to the bosses. I actually kind of wish there was more POV settings for an even higher maximum. Locking onto enemies too when you're playing doesn't feel smooth enough, nor does kiting enemies around with the camera. I had to change camera settings a few times as well, and I still never found a sweet spot. Although maybe if I had more time because I wasn't sick, it would have been possible. But there was times I actually completely lost my lock onto the enemies or attacking in the air, and so I definitely think it needs more work. I got stuck in combo strings a few times where the enemy would move ever so slightly out of my reach, and it would just do like a full combo and I would not hit anything, and that didn't feel very great or rewarding. The maps that you could traverse, well, as mentioned, there was only one in the beta. This really could have done with at least one more. The map did have layers, I'll give it that, especially for flying characters, because you're able to just completely skip over parts of the map when everyone else had to run around on foot. It did get a little stale though, because several hours of the same mini-map, it just didn't give the best first impression. Now, so co-op was okay. The idea of the rogue mode where you can get different passives, level up and explore the map, you open chests, you hunt down mini bosses, which can all be missed actually if you want to, which all help level you up more for the final fight. The first hour I was actually having a bit of fun. However, again, it just kind of seemed to drag on a little, but that's just because it was a beta, not the full product. Raids, let's quickly touch on raids. Raids can be very hectic and they can be fun. Although, again, I don't know if their first boss, the sword golem, is a good measurement for this. It had awful hitboxes to damage it. I spent way too much time constantly running around this giant arena trying to chase down and hit these tiny little leg areas that I can imagine that ranged units, flying units, magic users will have a much better time against this boss specifically. However, I struggled using melee characters. Second raid boss was much better, although some of the same issues, but overall I had a lot more fun with the second boss and the arena. So raids are pretty much the same as co-op. Everybody starts at level 1, and at certain checkpoints for the boss you gain experience, passives drop to pick up, enemies spawn to kill and level up more. So as the fight continues, you do actually get stronger, which is kind of cool. I do hope though, going back to customization, in terms of combat, that you can actually equip different skills per character, because the beta didn't have anything like this. I imagine using, let's just say Azana for the 50th time, using the exact same 3 skills and 1 ultimate, it's gonna get pretty boring pretty fast. And this is definitely something that needs to be in the final product, like especially if you cannot create your own custom character, which I'm not sure that's a thing in this game. You definitely need to be able to customize your characters. They're actually different from other people. I'm also just kind of worried about the longevity of the game. They haven't really physically shown off anything to do with the single player still, and we're less than 2 weeks out from release. They've mentioned it, and the fact that there is a free roam mode, and you can unlock characters for online through the story, but with a game like this that is primarily focused on multiplayer and online, the fact that you need 20 people, side note, yes, NPCs do populate matches if people can't be found. That doesn't sound like a great time, especially with AI. I really hope this game has a fairly robust single player story, because let's be honest, Sword Art Online, it's a little bit of a niche RPG franchise among niche franchises. This game might very well live or die based on the amount of people that it can attract, specifically for its online modes, day and week 1. You really need to have a healthy and vibrant player base for a game like this, and constant events to earn new gear and cosmetics, especially because this game has been heavily marketed as a online Sword Art Online game. So it might be a bit of a hard sell, especially if you cannot create your own custom character, or like I mentioned, customize your own skill sets and ultimate abilities, so each person's Kirito or Asuna or Leafa is actually different from another's. I don't know, man, like complaints aside, I hope this game finds its audience. I have some issues. I hope they get ironed out. I'll also mention at the end here, the game did crash on me twice, but it is a beta, so I'll just pretend like that didn't happen. And when choosing your server to play on, being down here in Australia, it was only Asia, Europe, and America. So even if I was super interested, I'm going to be playing with a higher ping or lag compared to most people, which isn't a fair experience on my teammates. Although maybe more servers will be up on launch, but we'll have to wait and see. Overall though, final thoughts, I had mostly fun because I do love this series, and whacking stuff with Kirito or Leafa or Asuna, for example, just activates that monkey part of my anime gaming brain. But I do have some concerns. I hope when this game launches, there is tons of different modes and maps and bosses, so many more characters, which we have seen in trailers. I hope people enjoy the game if they're big fans of the franchise, but as a first impressions, would I buy it after 3+ hours? No, probably not. But that's also just because I'm not a multiplayer guy. But even if I was, I'd really be waiting to see how the game pans out for the first couple of weeks or so. All right, well, that's it for today. Remember, if you like what I do here, just giving my average opinion in some very casual content, like the video so YouTube doesn't think it totally sucks. Comment down below, are you a Sword Art Online fan? What games have you played? Did you check out the beta? Let's talk about SOA in the comments. I'd love to get to know some more SOA peoples. Subscribe if you're new, or follow me on any of my socials. Join the Discord so I can chat to you there. That all being said, I'm gonna go sleep because I'm really sick. And I've got 5 hours and I gotta go back to work, so kill me. So I hope you guys are having a fan-freaking-tastic rest of the day, and as always, my name is Zeno, and you guys take care now.